Hey everybody, welcome to the first official Yankees and Gravy audio podcast. I wanted to go over and reflect a little bit about the 2011 regular season. I know all of our wounds are probably not completely healed, but it's been about a week now, and we have to kind of move on and see what's going to be going on for next year. In the next couple of weeks, I'm sure some moves will be made, and we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. But I really think we should go back and kind of look at the 2011 season as a whole. I think we gotta kind of remove ourselves and think back to when it was March and April, and we were assessing this team. And with every year, you kind of go into an estimation of what the hopes are going to be for that year. And we have to remember, guys, back then, we really were not on paper considered to be the favorite to win the division. We all know what the Red Sox did in the offseason. They retooled. They had, or at least what looked like was great pitching. They definitely added some stars. Some of them panned out. Some of them didn't. We can get into that, but this is not about the Red Sox. This is about the Yankees. More importantly, what we were forecasted to be. And I think that if we do remember back then, we talked about all the chatter. Cashman doing damage control, I think what it was. Thinking that, this is going to be a good role for us. I don't buy that for a second that he looked at it that way because, let's face it, with the New York Yankees, we were not meant to play the underdog role. It's a nice little kind of smokescreen for the fact that we didn't really do much in the offseason, but I think the truth is that we really didn't have a shitload of expectations going in to the regular season this year. I think we all had a fight. I think we all thought we had a fighter's chance, but really on paper, it was not us that looked like we had the most talent. Now, that's just going into the year. Think about what happened to us in addition to that. We lose Java. We lose Soriano for most of the year. Jeter is underperforming. A-Rod, we lose him for a lot of the year. And some other stuff. We really didn't pick up anybody at the trade deadline, which I was like, there's no way we're not going to make any moves, right? There's no way we're not going to try to go get somebody, right? We didn't get anybody of significance to really bolster that rotation. Now, there were a lot of surprises on the positive end that really kind of made up for some of the disasters we encountered. But the truth is, I think all in all, if you look back and you remember where we were in the beginning of the year, without making any moves to really bolster the team, we overachieved. That's the bottom line. We overachieved this year. You don't want to hear that or listen to it or give it any credence when you're it's the end of the year, going into the playoffs, having had the best record in the American League. Guys, we overachieved. Do you think we would have gotten what we had gotten from Colon and Garcia? I had no idea. They didn't blow you away, but they kept us together. I don't think we thought the bullpen was going to be as good as it was. I think everybody thought that was a strength. I thought we'd be pretty good. But once we did lose Java and we did lose Soriano, the fact that we were able to remain probably up there with the best bullpens in the American League is pretty astonishing. Mariano, what are you going to say about Mariano? It's just amazing. I guess you always have a fighter's chance of being a great bullpen when he's at the back end of it and shutting people down. And he was really good this year again. It's amazing. You never know. You keep thinking, when is this guy going to start to slow down? And he gives you that scare a little bit. He blows a couple of games, and everybody holds their collective breaths. Is this the year? Is this the year? Is right now? Is Mo not who he is? And then look what he does. The last outing of his season against the Detroit Tigers, he must have threw about 5 pitches. And I think he just sheerly, as a statement out of frustration, reached back into whatever a superhuman force like he has. He reached back and just decided, you know what, I'm making a statement. He didn't just break 3 bats. There was wood chips all over the field from 3 batters in a row where he just sawed them off. It was ridiculous. This guy's just a beast. Robertson was dominant this year as a whole. He looks like he's eventually going to be the heir apparent for Mariano in, 6-7 years when Mariano starts to slow down. But either way, that was a joke. But either way, we overachieved. Curtis Granderson, while I think at the end of the year, we didn't look at him as the most deadly or dangerous Yankee hitter, the stats that he was able to compile with runs scored, with RBIs, with home runs, batting average was still average. Strikeouts were high, but he had an all-time year. I mean, for him, forget it. I don't even think he thought he would ever have the year he had. But I mean, as far as just just an over-the-top from a slugger standpoint, numbers-wise, he dominated. And I don't think he's going to get the MVP because I think that someone said, I think it was Francesca, that Cano will probably nullify that for him. The fact that, yeah, he had great stats, but at the end of the year, Cano was the most feared man on the Yankees, and at the same time, Cano doesn't have the stats to kind of back that up. I think that basically cancels both of them out. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. We'll see who gets it. It should be interesting. But Jeter, what a moment, that 3,000. I was guilty of, I don't know, all year I was like, Jeter's done. Jeter has brought me more memories as a New York Yankee fan than anybody in the history of sports. I can't speak enough about it, but yes, this year I did think he was done. And when I was able to be fortunate enough to go to the game where he hit his 3,000th, I sat there, and on the ride home I was just like, shame on me and shame on everybody for ever doubting this guy, because what he did today was just another day of just thrilling moments that have just, the only word is joy, guys. The joy that this guy has given to Yankee fans over the years is immeasurable. However, I do think that he's getting there. You know, I don't want to. You know, I hope I'm wrong. I hope he hits 340 next year, 18 home runs, 85 RBIs, steals 25 bases, and is in the running for the MVP again with a Gold Glove. That's what I hope happens. But the reality is, what it looks like is he was able to claw back to flirting with 300 as a batting average. But the reality is that in the big spots where you just know that Jeter's meant to be, and Jeter being Jeter is going to come through in those at bats, it just didn't look like he could. He looked overmatched when they brought their big pitcher in, when they brought their 98-mile-an-hour hurler in, whoever that may be. Jeter did not look like he could summon whatever was within him in his past or in his youth and be able to rise to the occasion. It does look like when the game is on the line and they have to bring somebody in to get him out, he looks like he's able to be gotten out. And nothing symbolizes that more. I mean, guys, you knew that Jeter, when Jeter's Jeter, when Jeter was back in his day, that inside-out swing, that drive to right field, that's a home run 5 years ago. That's a classic Jeter home run that would have been just a nice shot in the arm that we would have needed to pull off this late inning win, this comeback win against the Tigers in Game 5. But when Jeter comes 8 feet short of the fence, guys, it's not meant to be for that series. It's just not. It's not. We'll get into, on the other podcast, we'll talk more about the specifics of the series. I want to do that very soon while it's still fresh in my mind. But still enough removed to where I'm not talking about it bitterly and cursing out A-Rod and Teixeira and everybody because I'm pissed. But thanks for listening. Again, the message is 2011. All in all, we overachieved. We just gotta get a couple of good acquisitions. We gotta do something with this pitching. We gotta get some timely hitting, and I think we gotta get a little bit younger and more interchangeable is the most important thing. Meaning we gotta be able to make moves. We gotta be able to ride hot hands. We gotta be able to take A-Rod out when he's not doing good without it making the back page. We gotta be able to sit this guy, that guy, whatever. Just like we did with Jorge. We set the precedence early. Jorge, you're not going to hit play every day this year. Jorge, you're not going to catch anymore this year. You got to deal with it, all right? It's a team game, guys, and hopefully next year, I mean, why not? We got most of the guys coming back in there, a lot of guys coming back in their prime, and I think we'll be in good shape. We're just going to make a couple of acquisitions. Next year could be a really fun year. But this was a fun year, too. We overachieved. Let's just leave with that. Thank you for listening to Yankees and Gravy.
10 the Harrys in 10 places at once. Plus she can't front, cause peep how I run mine. Our time together is our time together, and our time apart is our time apart. So love Jay with your mind, girl, and not your heart. And someday I slow down, but for now I get around. Like the late Machiavelli or Pirelli, 20 inches of cane and old dog stick up.